So I'm here at Hounslow Heath and I'm going to tell you some of the history and show you what a beautiful location it is. Before Hounslow Heath became surrounded by busy roads and modern life, it was one of the most feared places in England, but looking at it in the sunshine doesn't make it look that fearful. Travellers crossing the heath risked being robbed, attacked, or even murdered by notorious highwaymen who preyed on anyone unfortunate enough to pass through after dark. When these criminals were eventually caught, execution wasn't always considered punishment enough. Some were placed inside iron cages known as gibbets and suspended beside busy roads where their bodies were deliberately left to decompose for weeks, months and sometimes even years. The intention was simple: to strike fear into anyone who dared follow the same path. Looking at Hounslow Heath today, it's really changed since I grew up, and I used to play over here in the 70s and 80s. But imagine making the journey across Hounslow Heath and seeing a body swaying in the wind, visible for miles. For many, this terrifying sight became an unforgettable warning that the law would make an example of those who broke it. Over time, the heath became surrounded by stories of ghostly figures, strange sounds, and overwhelming feelings of being watched. Whether those tales were born from fear, grief, or something more mysterious remains open to debate, but the area's dark reputation has survived for centuries. The Highwaymen of Hounslow Heath. Hounslow Heath was one of the most notorious robbery hotspots in Britain during the 17th and 18th centuries, because virtually everyone travelling west out of London had to cross it. The authorities eventually lined the road with the gibbets that I'd actually just spoken to you about. But some names worth mentioning that travelled on the heath was Claude Duval, probably the most famous associated with the heath. Legend says he stopped a wealthy couple, danced a coranto with the lady, then robbed her husband, but behaved so gallantly that he became a folk hero. James McLean, one of the best documented robbers on the heath, he famously held up aristocrats and became something of a celebrity before being hung. And then there's Dick Turpin, often linked to Hounslow Heath in popular folklore, although historians generally think his real activities were mostly elsewhere. Still, he is one of the names the audience expect when Hounslow Heath is mentioned. And just remember, if you were travelling west from London in the 1700s, Hounslow Heath was the place you prayed your coach would cross before nightfall. One thing that I will remember from growing up and going over the heath in the 70s and 80s was the aeroplane graveyard. Many locals remember wasn't really an aircraft graveyard in that kind of sense, but Hounslow's long aviation heritage. The heath became one of Britain's earliest airfields. During the First World War, it was a Royal Flying Corps and later RAF station, training pilots and fighter squadrons. After the war, it became London's first international airport, and in 1919, scheduled commercial flights to Paris departed from Hounslow Heath in the aerodrome, years before Heathrow actually existed. And another little bit of history for you about Hounslow Heath is that Henry VIII used the land for a military camp. But not just Henry, other monarchs did as well, and armies. Under the Tudors, including Henry VIII's era, troops regularly mustered on the heath because it was a huge open area close to London. And during the Civil War, the heath was used by armies moving around the capital. In 1647, after the Civil War, Oliver Cromwell stationed troops there. But Hounslow Heath has been many things: a hunting ground for highwaymen, a campsite for kings and armies, and even London's first international airport. Few patches of West London have packed so much history into one stretch of heathland.